Prophets prophesy. Teachers teach. Students learn. Seekers seek. So prophets prophesy, teachers teach, students learn, and seekers seek. Pretty much that's what that's a message that's important to that's something to understand, for the listener that may be one that deems himself to be in on his faith, or trying to check it out, see what this thing about. Because as far as following the Messiah and being accurately a disciple, a follower of the Messiah, a believer of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, someone that's about this ministry, the ministry of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, who people ignorantly call God, Jesus Christ. And that's important because, as I said, prophets prophesy, teachers teach, students learn, and seekers seek. Because if you're a prophet, you're going to prophesy. Prophets prophesy. If you're a teacher, you teach. If you're a believer, right, or a student, you're going to be learning. And if you're a seeker, you're just seeking, you're going to be seeking. So it's a good thing to have all those understood. Simply like that, because then you'll know if you're on point, who's not on point, who wasn't on point, who's about to not end up on point. Because if they're a prophet and they're not, they're not prophesying, they're not clearly going to end up where they're supposed to be. And that's in the lot, or being one deemed as a prophet. They're a teacher and they're not teaching, they're not gonna end up on point. They're, and so forth. If they're a student and they're not learning, they're not gonna end up on point. You can't really say that person is a student, and so forth. But before I get into this, call halam la Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Wahar, Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the whole like elder apostles and elder bishops at Great Millstone Church. Shalom to all the Akim out here under the same doctrine, doing what they need to do according to the order, according to the scriptures in the order, across the four corners of the globe, nonetheless, and to the rest of the believers in on this faith as well. All right. Of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, who through the world, or who the world, through the so-called white man, the devil, has been calling God and Jesus Christ. But anyway, so, yeah, this is something you want to understand. So prophets prophesy. All right. Before I jump into this, Yahweh Shai told us, you can read it in Matthew, the 7th chapter, how you shall know them by their fruits. So it's a good thing to understand fruits. It's a good thing to pay attention to fruits, because it helps gauge, it makes clear what everything is. For instance, when you get the account of Yahweh Shai, when he walked up to the tree and he found on it no fruit. Let me grab that really quick. This is Matthew 21. So this is Matthew 21 and 18. Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only. And said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever. and presently the fig tree withered away. So pretty much that represented a believer, a prophet that isn't prophesying, a teacher that isn't teaching, so-called, obviously, because you would just be so-called if you're a prophet, but you ain't prophesying, you just so-called prophet. Same thing for a teacher, or a student not learning, or a seeker not seeking. This would be the result. And this is why you want to, once again, know them by their fruit, because if you don't have any fruit, I can't deem you a fruit tree. You're not deemed for eating. You can't. You're not. You could be set up and put in place to be one, but if you're not bringing forth the fruits, right, doing these works, prophet prophesying, teacher teaching, student learning, seeker seeking, you're not gonna end up in that lot. You're not gonna end up where you need to be, and that's one deemed, as one of the such. So that's why you want to have an understanding of all these things simply, because it could be you. You know what I'm saying? And this is how you are to look at. You're able to watch for those around you. You're not supposed to look on things of your own. You could read that in not what I just said, but you could also read in what's that, Sirach, and the I want to say that's the is that the 18th chapter? Let me see. Yeah, that's in the 27th chapter, and I'll just read it. This is Sirach 27. If you want to flip to it, you can. Sirach 27 and 6. It says, "The fruit declareth if the tree have been dressed. So is the utterance of a conceit in the heart of man. Praise no man before thou hearest him speak, before this is the trial of man." So pretty much it's all about, you could be deemed something, but it's all about proving it. You know what I'm saying? Making sure you're living up to it. Making sure one outside of yourself is living up to it, because you're not supposed to seek unto things of your own, which that's in let me grab that really quick. Yeah, Sirach or Slakia, Philippians 2. So you're saying Sirach. Philippians 2 and verse 4. "Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others." See that? "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Hamashiach." So yeah. So because you don't want to just be subjected by someone, you don't want to be subject to people's manners. You don't want to be partakers in one's sins. You don't want to, in other sins, you don't want to be condoning and praising someone that's not actually, as if there's something, they're being a thing when they're not actually bringing forth the fruits. So that's why you can't look into it, but that'll only be the case if you're not just looking on your own things, but also on the things of others. Because this is a business. People like, mind your business. Well, if this is regarding the business of the Lord, it is your business. It is your business to prove all things. You know what I'm saying? And be not hasty to credit a friend. Someone saying they're a prophet, someone saying they're a teacher, someone saying they're a student, someone saying they're a seeker. They need to be proving these things. So we can go ahead and get to the lesson. And first and foremost, you want to obviously start with yourself. It says, "Set thy house in order, then reprove thy people." So getting into this lesson, let's go to, let's see. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go Let's kick it off with Ephesians, if we can. Ephesians 4. I want to say we started like 12. So this is Ephesians 4, and we're going to start at let's start at 11. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers. For what's the purpose of this? Which is why we get in this. For the perfecting of the saints. So for us to make our amends with the Heavenly Father, not be destroyed, get the kingdom, right? For us to finally come out of this state as the Hebrew Israelites, as the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, these offices had to be set up, and the individuals that was born from before they was put in the womb to be these things, such as Jeremiah. Before, the Lord said, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and I ordained thee a prophet. So that's, these individuals will have to come back into these steads. They will have to come into these steads for what? The completing of the saints. So everybody can become whole. Everything could become whole, and everybody could become who they need to become, and whatnot. Ultimately, so we can get the kingdom. Because all of these different offices help bring forth the will of the Heavenly Father. The Lord said we're laborers together with him, So the word got to be dropped, spread, and watered, continuously maintenance by, the prophets, if you will, and then what? Then the Lord, he gives the increase. Really, so the Lord can give the increase. There's no growth where there's no seed planted, and the seed is not, and not even just where a seed is planted, but also where the seed is planted and or not planted and not tended to, not continuously watered. The sun and the things that cause the increase could be there all day, but if those other factors ain't there, then it's not gonna happen. So that's basically going into what? The manifestation. So something could come forth. That's what it means for the perfecting of the saints. All these offices, that's just one been set up, and these individuals that's been set to come into them, they have to come into them, and what? They have to do what they do. So prophets, they prophesy. Teachers, they teach. Students, they, learn. Seekers, they seek. Healers, they heal, etc. It says for the work of the ministry, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach, till we all come into the unity of the faith. Because it's not everyone's job to be a prophet or a teacher. Some are to be, and then some got to be built up into the point of where they come into whatever lot they is. Those are students learning, and the student might not need to learn to go on to become these things, but to learn to go on and become get their citizenship back as an Israelite, so they can have that commonwealth. They can inherit promises that was promised to their forefathers. They can get their lands back. They can get their immortality. They can be put back above all people, because our people are going to be above all people when we got the kingdom. The last Israelite is going to be greater than the most richest person on this side. We're going to be on a whole nother level in the kingdom. Our lives are going to be unmatched. That's why the Lord said at the end of a thing is better than the beginning. But to get to that end, these things got to be done. And that's why this is important. So you want to be looking around, making sure if you are these things, you're prophesying. You're doing these things, these offices, are set up to bring forth. And besides that, those that's in these offices, you making sure they are bringing forth these things, these offices, these things, the things that these offices are set up to bring forth. And if not, you have no part with them. You know, you rebuke them. You know what I'm saying? Warn them. Don't support them. Don't partake in them. First and foremost, starting with yourself. Because you see everything comes down to that. You know, okay, if you're a prophet, you're supposed to be prophesying. If you're a teacher, you're supposed to be teaching. If you're a student, you're supposed to be learning. If I'm one of these things, I'm supposed to be doing these things. If you're a seeker, you're supposed to be seeking. You know? And that's why this ministry has been so big with exposing the so-called Christian church. But moving on. So till we all come into the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. You know, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, carried about every wind with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. See that? But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him and all, see, like that seed, grow up into him. But the seeds got to be being planted, watered, tended to, so the Lord can give the increase, right? But anyway, but speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Hamashiach. So that's the whole point. Lord said, give him no praise, give him no rest till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. So you really want to be taking this serious. You should be offended in a prophet that's not prophesying, a teacher that's not teaching. If you're one of these things, you're not doing that. You should be offended. You should be, okay, that's we're not getting anywhere with that. You know? Your students not learning. You know? Seekers not seeking. Healers not healing. You should have a problem with that. Wives not being wives. You know? You should have a problem with that. Because we're not going to be able to get nowhere with that. We're not going to be able to make the Jerusalem praise in the earth. So, moving on. This is 1 Corinthians 13. And I'm going to start at Salakia. Not 13, I want 12. And there is a difference in these offices, you know, which I'm going to pull up right now. This is 1 Corinthians 12, and we're going to start at 28. It said, let's start at 27. It says, you know what? Let me see something real quick. Let me jump up. Okay, Khan. This is 1 Corinthians 12. Let's start at 22. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. And those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor. So everybody got to be doing what they supposed to be doing. If you a toe, you got to be being a toe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that. But anyway, moving on, and our uncomely parts, you know, have more abundant comeliness. So you're supposed to put emphasis on these things, these lots. These, you know, it says, for our comely parts have no need. See, for our comely parts have no need, but God, the Most High, Yahweh Shemel Shah, have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members shall have the same care one for another, whether one member suffer, all members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Exactly. That's why this is important to not just make sure you're right, but to look onto the, you know, which will be looking onto your own things, but also looking onto the things of others, because everyone is affected. Can two walk together except they be agreed? You partaking with somebody that's supposed to be a prophet, but they not prophesying, you know what I'm saying, a seeker, but they not really seeking. They wasting their time, and you with them, you wasting time with them. You condoning it. You saying it's cool. But anyway, even if you on point, but they not. So it says that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another, and one member suffer. And whether one member suffer, all members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now ye are the body of a Mashiach, and members in particular. And that's when we on point, when we thinking like that. But this the point, verse 28. And the Most High, Yahweh Shemel shall have set some in the church. So all Jake not in this gathering, this time around. It's only the who's supposed to be true believers, the elect. You know? That's why we do those non-elect trait series, you know, over here at our camp. But anyway, it says first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, helps, governments, diversity of tongues. So you got a bunch of different offices. And when you jump down, this is pretty much dealing with some commentary. And this is exactly how it's understood. It says they got for 1 Corinthians 12 and 28, the first priority implied by this phrase refers either to the rank of the roles mentioned or to their importance for church growth. So apostles, they're going to be out. They're going to be on top of things. Apostle means sent. You know what I'm saying? Sent where? To the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So they're gonna be coming. They're gonna always be coming to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says in the way that they supposed to, according to the scriptures. If a man speak not according to his words, because there is no light in him. Isaiah 8:20. But it says in the first part of this verse, Paul discusses what seem to be church offices. In the second part of the verse, he begins to discuss spiritual gifts. So there's a difference. But anyway, you got apostles. And then you have prophets. It says for the difference between people with this gift or leadership role, in parentheses, and the gift of paraklesis, usually translated as exhortation. You see these. But anyway, teachers, it's a people who explain and impart truth to God's people. You know? So prophets, they go into more detailed things, you know? And ultimately they saying before in a way that's going to bring forth edification, exhortation, and admonition. And then a teacher, they're like a brochure, you know? You're like a brochure. They're like an outline, you know. They're like a class semester outline. But anyway, and you got miracles. Performing a miracle and healing someone are not synonymous. Paul uses two different terms. So there's differences. You got helps. It says refers to assisting people in need. Governments, which we did lessons on this. Cause see, everybody in the truth just say they prophets, and that's a damn lie. You know, everybody not prophets. All right. So anyway, we're closing this out. Verse 29, are all apostles? Are all back on the left side of the screen. 1 Corinthians 12 and 29 in the KJV. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? No. Are all teachers? No, but if you're a prophet, you're going to be prophesying. If you're a teacher, you're going to be teaching, right? Are all workers of miracles? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Right, you got some good language. It says, do all interpret? No. but covet earnestly the best gifts. You know, you should want to do these things. You should want to be on point, but you can't deem your want as the standard for actually doing and being what? A prophet, a teacher, a student, a seeker. You have to be doing these things. That's the standard. You shall know them by their fruits. If you ain't got no fruits, you're nothing to behold. You know? You're nothing to deal with. Yahushua got rid of them. And we are to follow his example. It says, but cover earnestly the best gifts, and yet shew unto you a more excellent way. This is Hebrews 1:1. God, right? To just get some scriptures on these prophets, what prophets is going to be doing. God, Yahweh Bashmel Shah, or Yahweh, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past by the prophets. Prophets going to be speaking. See that? That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be speaking. All right? Hosea 12:10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So it tell you basically the type of way the prophets gonna come, what they gonna come to you with. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be doing everything they can to make you get it, similitudes. So that's like parables, examples, metaphors, things like that. It says, and they're gonna have multiple visions. You know what I'm saying? Prophets, they get visions. You know, they get let's do this too. Or whether I can get that word vision. Yeah, they're gonna get revelations. They're gonna have what? Secrets revealed unto them. So they're gonna be breaking these things down to you. All right. The word you got right here is Hazawan, or no, Hazawan. It says a vision as seen in the ecstatic state in the night, divine communication in a vision. All right. They're going to be dealing with prophecy. You know, things before they happen. You know what I'm saying? But, so that the prophets are important. So if you're not doing these things, you're not a prophet. You know, you come with one prophecy every blue moon, or a prophecy one. But, you know, you got major prophets that they call them minor prophets. But if you don't really got the fruits, you doing other goddamn things or whatever, more so of this, you're not a prophet. That man's not a prophet, because the men is the prophets. You know? But anyway, for instance, let's go down. Let's show how important they are. It says, verse 13, and by a prophet, the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt. That was Moses. And by a prophet was he preserved. So leading, standing up, because this prophet that's being talked about was Moses. Moses did what? He led. He stood up for our people. He led our people. You know, and he took on the burdens of our people. He bared them. And then ultimately, through him being an actual prophet, Israel was preserved, meaning was kept. You know? But anyway, so now you have Luke 19:47. It says, and he taught daily in the temple. And he taught daily in the temple. But the chief priest, this is dealing with teaching, right? But the chief priests and the scribes and the chief of the people sought to destroy him, and could not find what they might do, for all the people were very attentive to him. You know, you getting God's truth imparted unto you, explained, like I said, the teacher like a brochure. You know, that's basically how Shah was. He was a prophet. He was a teacher. He was all the things. He was a healer. He was a miracle worker. Yahushua was. That's why I says, man, we got to come into the full measure of him, you know. But everybody got bits and pieces of Yahushua, you know. And then together we'll make, you know, Yahushua the body. You know, Yahushua is to be seen in all the individual Israelites in his truth once we're together. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what teachers are going to be doing. They're going to be teaching, you know, and people are going to be attentive. You know, Paul was a teacher, right? When you go to 1 Corinthians 3 and 2. It says what? And brethren, I could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as babes, even as unto babes in Hamashiach. Verse 2 is the point. I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. So Paul, he understood what? Paul understood, and I want to get this in a different translation. So yeah, it's all good, but you don't have nothing. But we know that word fed goes into basically teaching. So Paul, he teaches on a simple level, you know what I'm saying? Because basically when you're trying to teach, you're trying to impart, once again, the truth unto, which is the word unto God's truth unto Israel. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's the whole objective. So Paul is clearly teaching right here versus prophesying, you know? There's a difference. So I'm gonna just cut this short. So this is for the so teachers are gonna be teaching. If you're not doing these things, moving like that, you're not a teacher. If the person's not doing that, they're not a teacher. Anyway, the students being learners, that's more so touching on the disciple being a follower of Yahushua. And Yahushua, the first thing he let us know, you can read that in Matthew, what's that, the 10th chapter. It said, if any man cometh after me, let him, meaning follow him, meaning learn of him. Let him take up his cross. So you got to take you got to basically bear everything that comes with it. That's being a student or something. You know what I'm saying? You're a student. You're trying to learn everything you can. You taking in everything you can from the situation. And we know that's true because Yahushua, what's that? Matthew 11, he said, learn of me. Right? So this is St. John 6. And that will make you what? If you're doing that, a student of him. Hence a disciple, which means student or what? Follower. So you go to John 6 and 58. It says, this is that bread which came. This is what Yahushua said. He said, this is, I'm going to start at 56. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I am him, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. Right? Like they be like, you got to eat the books. You got to eat, breathe, sleep, live, whatever you're learning. You know what I'm saying? This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. This the point. These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. So Yahushua, he was prophesying and he was teaching at the same time. Right? There's a difference. You could technically be like, okay, to be a prophesy, you're teaching, but it's a difference. It wouldn't be laid out in the scriptures as being different lots if they was all the same. You know, there's a difference. It's a different measure. It's a different approach, right? It's a different spirit. Just like we all Israelites, but it's different tribes. But anyway, it says, These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is an hard saying. Who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples, see, his students, his followers, those learning of him murmured at it. It says, he said unto them, do this offend you? What and if you, so there it is. What and if ye see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. He said, I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to impart this to you. You can't really see this, but what if this goes on to happen? Then you would believe it. You know what I'm saying? You being carnal, you're not being spiritual. I'm teaching you, and what if you see me go up to heaven? I'm telling you, I'm the bread that came down. That's why he quoted how a man is not to live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. But he was the word. All he spoke was the word. But they couldn't perceive that because they was being carnal. They're like, yo, you saying you're bread? You telling us to eat you? You're a cannibal? You pushing cannibalism now? You know? So as being a student, you're supposed to be learning, right? And students are going to be learning. They're not going to be rebuked. They're not going to be rejecting their ear, being stiff-necked. Not, if Yahushua taught daily, you're going to be being taught daily. If you're a student of him, you're not going to be missing in action all the dang time. A person, that's not a student. That's not a follower. How can you be following me if I turn around, you ain't never there? Read, no, it says, or you doing your own thing. It says, which leads me to the last point in this, but it says, but there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believe not. See that? And who should betray him. So this was the same mind that was in him. He's not just looking on the things of his own, but onto the things of others. You know, and he said everything he did was in thought of us and himself. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost. But it says, and he said, therefore I said unto you. That's why when he started his ministry, it gives you a time where he was by himself before he even got with anybody else. Then when he got himself right, then he got with other people. He got with the rest of the brethren. But it says, therefore said I unto you that no man can come unto me except, Salakia, except it were given unto him of my Father. And it's the point. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then said Yahushua unto the 12, will ye go away? Will ye also go away? You know, then Simon Peter answered, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. So there it is, man. So if you're a student, you're going to show it. You know, you're not going to be turning your back, coming up with your own thing, leaning upon what you think. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. And that takes me to the last point of all of this, which is if you're a seeker, you might be at the point where I'm just seeking. You should be showing that. If you're a student, you should be showing that. You should be trying to learn. You brothers that got camp heads, or brothers that's diligent around you should be trying to learn as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? That about Yahushua. Any of you that call yourselves believers, that's what you should be doing. You should be learning this truth. And remember, the Lord said he come in the volume of the book. So it ain't just about his life per se. It's everything, the whole word. Everything that comes with this. So these my last scriptures. I just went longer than I thought it would go, but hey, as long as it's edifying, the point is proven. This is Luke 11 and 10. For everyone that asketh, receive it, and he that seeketh, find it, and to him that knocketh, it shall be open. So if you're truly seeking, you're gonna be obtaining. You're gonna show that you're seeking, and that brings me to my last scripture. This is St. John 7:4, and it reads what? For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and himself he himself seek to be known openly. Right. So when you seeking, you want it to be known that you seeking. You're not gonna be hiding the fact that you seeking. You're gonna be showing it. It's not gonna be hid. It says, if thou do these things, if thou do these things, shew thyself to the world. So you're not supposed to be ashamed that you seeking. It's supposed to be clear you seeking. You're not supposed to be ashamed. You know? For neither did his brethren believe in him. See that? So let me read that from the top. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seek it to be known openly. So there it is. So if you looking to be seen, you looking to be known, you're not gonna have that on the low. It's not gonna be concealed. It's not gonna be hidden. You're gonna be able to tell. It's gonna be clear. It's gonna be it's gonna be out there. It's gonna be, for all to know. Everyone's gonna know that. The ones that need to know that are gonna know that. Whoever needs to know that is gonna know that. So if thou doest these things, and if that's the case with you, right? Shew thyself to the world. And that's exactly what us seeking is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a secret. We're supposed to be confessing and professing, Yahweh Shemiah Shah. You see a man diligent in his business, get thee be times unto him. You're not supposed to be ashamed. You're not supposed to miss the discourse of the elders. You're supposed to be acquainted with their sayings, their wise sayings. You're supposed to be at peace with many, but have but one counselor. Because you're seeking. And you want the Heavenly Father to know you seeking. So you got men that's been put in your life. You've been put in a situation to show that. So if you don't show that, you're not any of these things. And that's basically the point. Prophets prophesy, teachers teach, students learn, seekers seek, etc. So call Allah like Yahweh Shemiah Shai, Wahara Kakodash, Lord, when he been edified. Shalom.